Now, another very frequent host and practically a cast member at this point is Alec Baldwin. You've got his Trump wig right behind you.
Yes.
Talk about Alec and particularly creating the look for his Trump.
He really wanted to go all out. He was all like, he wanted to be orange and the wig and you know, eyebrows. It was a big thing. And him, we actually we did quite a few camera tests with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a big deal. And, you know, I was like, great, I'll build this wig. So that was like pretty crazy. And he has a different weirdly different shaped head. So, you know, I had to figure out how to do it. And we just assumed it wouldn't be for long that he'd be doing it. So we didn't go crazy with it. Like in retrospect, I probably would have asked Louis to put like a ball cap on him to do it. But I was like, oh, I mean, maybe he'll do it twice. Like how long is we going to do a Trump, you know? Here we are. So I was like, all right. But it was crazy. It took me a really long time to like, I wanted it to be perfect, and he loves it. In fact, last week, I put it on him, and he was like, it looks too much like him. And he's like, can we just make it a little fluffier? It's too, like, he likes it like a little bit bigger and funnier.
He likes to go a little cartoony.
He likes it a little, and I was just like, oh, all right. Just like, all right, because it was so perfect, but, which is fun. But, yeah, his has, that was fun. I mean, we had to tweak it a lot and bring it down a little bit because Lauren didn't want to make it too cartoony. He was like, it wasn't necessary, you know. It would just be out there just
But he's got
doing
such
it.
a strong point of view on things. I imagine whenever you're creating looks for him, you know, he's, you know.
Yes.
He's tinkering. He's patchkeying,
right? Yeah, I mean, there'll be times where it depends on what it is. I think it depends on what it is. If it's you know, something that it's really wants to be right, yes, he'll have a lot to say about it. And you know, I know him 16 years, so I'll just try to, you know, give him what he wants. But if it's just like a basic character, not necessary. Like I'll just use my own hair, you know, and stuff like that, which is fine as well, you know. But it depends. Some people pick and choose what they really want a wig for, and otherwise it's not about the wig, and I'm okay with that. Same as Lauren. If it's something that, you know, I'll get a note on, then I realize that he noticed the wig and he probably shouldn't have. So I'm fine with that. I get changes all the time. We don't take anything personal. It is what it is, and it's about making it work. And if it's just a normal patron in a restaurant and you noticed his wig, then that's a problem.
Right.
So maybe I missed it, or it's just not necessary, and we'll use our own hair for something or anything.
All right, a couple other cast members that, again, I just think of such specific sketches and such specific looks. I'm wondering if you have any particular insights. Well, I mean, someone who's been here practically the whole time you've been here is Keenan, who has so many great looks.
Keenan is just everything. He's my favorite person in the world. He's just, that alone is just, he's pure gentleman. I've never seen him upset, mean, nothing. He's just perfect. In fact, I think I might marry him one day. We have an agreement. He's a lot of fun. He's so smart in his timing. He's a great person to he makes a lot of hosts feel comfortable. He's so seasoned, and he's respectful, and he makes you feel comfortable. And you can put him in anything and he'll make it funny. He can read even at read through, he'll say 2 words and we're peeing our pants. He's amazing. So professional. Yeah.
I mean, his Steve Harvey to me is
it's just
delicious.
so funny. He loves it too. He loves it.
Now, what about Kate, who to me sort of came in and kind of, you know, like took over with all these characters, and she does some, like Jeff Sessions is such a bizarro, like deliverance version of Jeff Sessions.
She's really incredible. Yeah, she's definitely involved, right? you could see that it weighs on her a little bit. You could see it during the week because she really wants to do a good job, you know, whatever it is. And it, for her, sometimes it could be really 3 major people in a show, and that's a lot. You know, you know, and your last minute change writing, and it's a lot. I give her a lot of credit. She pulls it off, and she has to carry, like if it's a show where she's got to carry like 3 major political people or whatever, she does it, and that's a lot to carry.
I mean, her Hillary was so tinged with pathos. I mean, I remember, well, a couple of pieces when after the election and she opened, the cold open of the show was her as Hillary playing Hallelujah. Talk about like sort of helping her find Hillary, you know, and you're sort of part of that.
She wanted that to be really done well. She didn't want to, believe it or not, weirdly, you know, you see things and things seem sometimes that we're very one-sided, but weirdly, not necessarily. People just see it that way because sometimes people just give you funnier stuff. Like, you can't help but keep getting funny stuff when Trump does something. I mean, he's just handing it to you. You know what I mean? So you know, it's a comedy show. You're doing comedy. So there is a fine line about having fun and being, you know, in being now and being funny, and it trying not to be mean. So she wanted to be very careful not to be mean to her or to him. You know, you still want to be a comedian and be professional. So she did her very respectfully, and as you know, we made her look as much as we could like her. The thing with Kate, it's unbelievable, is that she's very tiny. She's teeny, teeny, tiny. And it's really difficult to do. You'll do a wig on a block, and you'll cut it, and you think it's here, and you put it on Kate, and it's literally here. And you're like, God, it's the craziest thing.
So are all of these blocks the exact dimensions?
Yes.
So you have those built for with the exact dimensions
Yes.
of the performer's head?
Yes, and our host every week. Because we don't have fittings. We can't do fittings.
Wow.
So people have like wigs built, and you'll do fittings, and they'll whatever. We don't have that. Wow. So we have, each host comes, and we do that on Tuesday as well. I forgot that. We do that on Tuesday. We do a bubble, or if they've been here before, we have it. So like Amy Schumer is here this week, and we already have one, so she didn't have to come in on Tuesday. We just build the blocks. Yeah.
All right. Well, not sort of as like almost a you know, a corollary to the Sarah Palin thing. There was also that great scene that Kate did with Hillary Clinton. Any memories of that?
She was so nervous.
Was she?
Yeah. She was so nervous, and she was so excited. And yeah, she just had so much fun with it. But I remember like seeing it. You could feel it. You know, we all are pretty in tune with each other, and you can write off, like, if somebody's host like energy is not great or nervous, or it affects everybody. It affects the whole week, everything. And that she was just really nervous about, and you know, and excited. It was like a nervous, like excited, nervous, and it was really funny. And she just had a great time with it. It was very sweet. And Hillary is lovely. You know, they all are. Everybody that comes, when they're here, they're obviously, you know, it's always very comfortable, and it's, you know, and she was excited to do it with her.
Well, and also sometimes you have, like the cold open of just last week's show with Donald Glover, you had Fallon came back, and Scarlett Johansson, and you had Ben Stiller, and I mean, and Stormy Daniels was actually, so, I mean, when you have that many superstar guests along with the cast, along with the host, like, you know, how does that all work?
Well, it's not easy. I think that's what stresses me out the most. The show, I'm very used to. It doesn't stress me out. Once that cold open is over, I can relax. The cold open is usually where he wants it perfect. He doesn't want it messed up. It's the opening of the show. It's what sets the tone, and we all know it. And so it's one of those things, and it's in these past few years, they're big cold opens. I mean, that's just be real. It is, you know, and sometimes it's also who the guests are going to be. You don't want it to leak out. So that's very nerve-wracking sometimes, because you're just like, I can't see these people on camera. Like, even if they are here and can we do a quick camera test? We can't, because we don't want anybody to see it.
How does it not leak between dress and the show?
I don't know. Well, at that point, it probably doesn't matter, but like by Friday, Friday, if they come to rehearse and stuff, you have a lot of crew members walking around. You have a lot, they're doing tours, NBC tours. So it's like a lot, it's very difficult to be live and not have somebody spill the beans or something that you want to be like, oh, a great cold open, so.
No, because some of those just wind up like breaking social media.
Yeah.
Like every trending topic on Twitter is something from the SNL cold open, like every week now.
Yeah, so that's where my biggest nerves go, is usually the cold open, because and the fact that people are playing other people and you want it to look right. Character wigs are fine, but when it's someone playing...
Oh, like De Niro is Robert Mueller. That was
I almost had a heart attack with that. That was 2 weeks ago.
Well, okay, so talk about that.
That was like big, because it was, that we did do a makeup and hair test for, but privately. Nobody knew. A lot of cast didn't even know. Wow. And we did that privately. And we did it... we just tested different things with him, and he had a lot of opinions, about what we could do to make it look. And we had Higgins was a big part of that.
They had a lot of prosthetics.
He had a lot of prosthetics, and he's so great.
Really?
Oh my God, he's so great. I mean, he's just been in it forever.
He's your other Robert De Niro.
Yeah, he's my other Robert De Niro. He's great, and he's for it, and he's like, he gets it, obviously. And that was exciting. And then he was with Ben Stiller, and Ben Stiller actually had more prosthetics, and we wound up taking them off because it wasn't necessary. And I don't, there must have been a note about it or whatever, and I guess maybe he didn't look enough like Ben Stiller, because he doesn't want them to get completely lost or whatever. But yeah, that was a big one, just because it was just this crazy cold open, Yeah,
where they redid the Meet the Parents scene,
yes,
but it's Michael Cohen and Bob Mueller.
Yeah, it was really good. It was fun. That whole thing was crazy. Everything about that, too, that script and everything was last minute. And that's another reason, too, because our cold open sometimes is something that's like breaking news. So sometimes we don't even have a script until Saturday.
What?
Like, it's like full script. They have an idea on Friday. They'll rehearse it very late. Like that, last week's Friday night was like when they were rehearsing that. And that was a lot of people to have, with a lot of moving, shots, because it was them picking up the, that was, I don't know how the director did that one. That was a rough one. And, that's something you would rehearse a lot.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about sort of Don Roy King's role in all of this. You want to sort of just give your perspective on him sort of keeping all these plates spinning with all of these last-minute changes and all these people running here and there?
I don't know how he does it. I really don't. I don't know how he does it. He doesn't really get involved with us. It's different here. Usually, like sometimes, like on a show, or if you're doing a movie, the director will have a very big part in what it looks like. It does not go, that doesn't work here. He focuses on his actors, sets, and how to get it done. The hair and everything else is no concern to him. And, if we need something, obviously he'll listen, but we almost never have to deal with him. We don't even bother. He doesn't need another problem. So in that sense of the way, it's very much between us and the actor or the cast member or the writer. The writer obviously has a big say on what he wants, and a lot of the cast members are writers. They don't really get credit for it, but a lot of them are writing their own material. And then whatever, Mr. Michaels wants, is obviously, and he's almost always right on, He's been doing it a long time, so you kind of trust it, And there's little things you notice that you're going to get a note about, like just certain things that he just somehow doesn't like. It's like it could be completely unrelated to anything, and I'm like, oh, he I'll do a middle part, and I usually like on a man, and it's like this weird thing that I weirdly always get a note on it, and I think it's just because he doesn't like middle. I'm just like, it's just something that stands out to him. I don't know if it's like the dad hair or something, it's like funny, but he's always like, no, and I'm like, oh, the middle part, that's so funny. Like certain people have little things they get hooked up on. Writers too, they're like, oh, and you're like, all right. So it's funny, but you make it all work. It all works out.
All right, so one of the biggest shows that you were here and part of, and I'd love to get recollections of, anything that sort of was memorable to you, was the 40th anniversary special.
Oh my God, that was crazy. That was just insane because you didn't really know how it was going to go down. It was just, and there was so much build up to that for so many reasons.
So did you have to like add staff for that? Because I mean, there was,
it was pretty
so
crazy.
It
was
stage.
Pretty crazy. And it was kind of, we almost did it that day too. Like a lot of stuff, like even had to run that show. It was insane. I don't even know what to tell you about it. I'm just glad I got through. I think I might have blocked it out. It was crazy. And like we had ideas of who was going to come and what was going to come, and we just styled them all. If we thought they were going to be here or not, or what they were going to write.
Okay, like so one of the memorable things that touches your department was Emma Stone recreating Rosanna. I mean,
that was
like how slavish did you want to be to the exact look that Gilda Radner had created for that character?
Oh, you wanted it to look like, you wanted to have fun with it. I mean, that was another thing we didn't know. I don't think we knew about that until last minute.
You didn't use the actual, I mean, that's not still here, is
We
it?
actually don't have that. We have a lot of the original wigs. They're actually in the SNL museum right now, I think is in Chicago. But we have a lot of original wigs here.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you ever use them?
Yeah. Like when Church Lady comes back and
So
stuff.
that was when I was going to
Totally.
bring up. So I came when Dana hosted, and you know how
he has
they
about 70 of those.
Oh, does he?
He has a bunch of them.
Okay,
but
'cause
we
when
have
when
it.
I came, and I'm coming in, I forget if I was here for dress or for the actual show. They have those like museum cases with the iconic costumes.
We took it out.
Yeah, so I walked past it, and it was empty, and I went like, oh my God, Dana's doing Church Lady because the costume that was in the case
Yes.
wasn't there.
Yes. So right now we have a museum, or not we, but they're doing a museum in Chicago, SNL, and we sent everything there. And if something happens, they have to overnight it to us. They have to take it down and send it to us.
Can you think of any time when that happened?
It just happened, darn it, recently. Nope, it's all gone. Oh, Stefan.
Stefan?
Yeah, Bill Hader's. Stefan was there, and they had to overnight the costume and the wig. Yeah. It's funny, we do. We have a lot. No, but that one for the 40th for her, we recreated. And I think we found out that day she was doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a crazy show. It was unbelievable being in the hallway for that. Everybody that's anybody was here. I can just never get invited to any party ever again. I've met everyone. It's fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people, because no one ever leaves Saturday Night Live, it seems. Were there people with whom you were working who were here with some of those original cast members?
Oh, a lot of people here.
Like
I mean, well, we had, our lighting designers and everybody. A lot of his original crew and stuff is still here, if not passed away. But we're here up until the end. Don Pardo is here.
That's right, Don Pardo was still here for the 40th anniversary.
Maybe not, but just people, just crew members and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people here that are from, were, you know, still like, you know, and you see them walk down the hallway, and even if I didn't know that, you know, people come back, you see them hug like, you know, like a lighting guy or like a crew, and you're like, oh, and Lauren's very loyal. He likes his people to stay. It's nice. It's like, it definitely is a family.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other pieces. This maybe wasn't on the 40th anniversary special, but when Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd recreated the Festrunk Brothers.
Maybe we did do that. I can't remember.
Was that the 40th anniversary special? Or I know that was recent.
It all turns into one.
To mush.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you who hosted
but
this
were those
season.
their original, like, costumes and everything for those
Usually, yeah. Stuff like that, like, we hold on to.
Wow.
Yeah, totally. And sometimes it's funny, cast members wear clothes that were for all cast members. Bobby wore something, I don't remember, but I remember him opening, like looking inside a jacket, and it said like an old cast member, and you know, and he was just like, oh my God, you know, it's just, yeah, you know, there's a lot of, it's in the same building, the same room, you know, there's a lot of history here.
I'm just trying to think what else, because I want to make sure that we move into some of these other shows while we have a little bit of time.
Sure.
But I think this is probably important to touch on because it's for the Television Academy.
Mm-hmm.
You've won, I know you wouldn't be boastful about this, but you've won 6 Emmy Awards for Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Talk about what those honors mean to you and going to the Emmys for the, you know.
It's pretty exciting because, you know, I think we were probably nominated, since I've been here, maybe, I think we were not, maybe I was nominated 9 times or 8 times, and we won 6. And it is just, it's so nice because it's with your team. You know, I mean, obviously it's not me that's winning, it's not just me. I mean, I couldn't do it without amazing people. And it's just a nice honor to be recognized because it's really, here's why also, is when we're in these categories and we're up against these other shows, it's very weird because there's no other show like ours. So it's like this weird off balance, and you don't poo-poo the other show. You're just like it's like a hard thing because you're like, oh, but we're live. And like it's this, and it's never going to be perfect, you know? Like for example, Louis in makeup, puts in for prosthetics every year, and if you even understood what he has to do for a show with prosthetics and manipulate formulas and stuff to get them on and off, and he puts a ball cap on, I think like in 8 minutes, he'll never win. He never wins because he's up against shows that have hours to do these prosthetics and build them. So it's like...
I remember one show I was here for where Zach Galifianakis, in between, during the commercial break, shaved off his beard for a sketch and then had to have a fake beard put on to finish the show.
It's just all these crazy moments, you know, even if you think about Kate too, you know, Kate could have a ball cap on as, you know, I think we have her wig here somewhere.
Oh, the
you
Giuliani.
know, Giuliani, or plays, you know, somebody else, and then that's cold open, and you have literally 3 minutes, you're taking it off, and you have to get a full costume, you have to get it off the stage, people forget like they have to walk, and you have to get them to a changing booth, you have to get them undressed and put a new outfit on, change the makeup, get a ball cap off, put a new wig on, and back out on set under 3 minutes. And she's standing there, and people, you know, I still get, when is that show on? You know, is it live? And you're like, you know, yes, you know, but people don't get it. So I think when we win, it's nice because it's like you're being recognized for that, because it's crazy what we do, and not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
It's really funny, and not to any fault to anyone. There's just no other show like it. I remember we tested Maya's show. Remember the Maya and Marty show we wound up doing in New York? We tested that in LA. And she wanted me to come and do it. And they were like, no, we have our people. We don't want to, you know. I was like, all right. And Maya was like, oh, here we go. You know, because it's a different world. and they hired somebody to do the hair. And it was like the day before they were going to start, he met with Maya. Maya's like, all right, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need that, and blah, 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 and you know, all these wigs. And he was like, I can't do that. And he was like, he quit. Because they're used to taking time and, you know, you tell me you need a wig, you'll have it, you know, in an hour, you know. So they called, they were like, can you come out and do, I was like, really? All right, I'll come out. So I went out. And I think within 2 days, I had like 32 wigs, you know, with all the characters, whatever. And I remember, because I'm so used to here, right. I remember styling them, and me and my Key, and a crew guy came in. No, one of the guys that worked at the studio at Universal was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you guys were still in here. We were gonna lock up," and I'm like, they stopped building the set. Like, we're going to be live in 2 days. That set's not even, he's like, oh, ma'am, you know, here we go. And I'm like, oh, my God, how are we going to do this? You know, like, I was just like, no, they had no idea, you know, and why would they? They just didn't know. And I remember, like, we have a board how we lay out everything to keep it organized. Each cast member, each sketch, who's going to be in it and what. And we did it on Post-its, like, on the wall. And I'm telling you, crew guys, lighting guys, wardrobe, everybody was coming in and taking pictures. They were like, we cannot wrap our head around
Yeah, the
doing
organization
this.
has got to be
It's insane.
Meticulous
it's insane.
For this stuff, right?
Yes. And like literally, even I remember the wardrobe people, at one time I was like, how are you setting up your rack? They were like, no. I was like, oh, no. And I was just like, you're going to have to do it like this. And Maya was like, oh, my God. And she's like, I don't think they're going to know how to do this. Well, we never did it live. There was no way we could do it, and which was fine. And by that point, it was an agreement. But it just goes to show you that it's just they're not used to it. You know, doing the way.
It's a singularly unique system, and these are really unique relationships that you
right.
have, which will bring us to the thing that's so near and dear to my heart, and how you and I got to come to work together, which was Portlandia.
Oh, so fun.
Which is done, or was done, now that it's over, over the summers, because we had to accommodate Fred's SNL schedule, which meant that you were available. Now, were you, once you were sort of on staff here, were you generally not working during the summers, or would you be doing other things?
If it worked out schedule-wise, it's usually hard. That's probably why I always stay within Lorne's, like, his projects, because we're all on the same page, and I'm not going to give this up. I love it, but it's such a crazy schedule that I actually will lose out on a lot of other stuff because the timing doesn't work. And this to me comes first. So usually it works out if he has a production that he's going to do, usually I will be able to do it because it's either with a cast member or he has to be back. You know, it depends on what it was, and that worked out for us because Fred was a cast member at the time. Right. So it just was perfect. I didn't have to do nothing but show up. So it was fun.
Talk about how different, because obviously it's a very different style of production and a somewhat different show. Talk just about your perspective on coming into Portlandia.
To me, it was like a summer camp SNL. It was very laid back, but it was like summer camp. You know, there was it wasn't live, so it was no pressure, but it's always fun to do stuff with like those kind of like cast members or writers, because they actually do shows like here. They write sketches. It's the format that they use is true to here, and not necessarily are all shows work like that. And the director was also worked here for a while.
That's right. Jonathan Kreisel was doing digital shorts for, I think, half a season or whatever when we brought him into
Right. So we had a great relationship with him, and he was super quick, because you have to be pretty quick here, you know, directing on those digital shorts and pre-tapes. So it was just all very familiar, and it worked out nice, but there was not the pressure of it being live, and you had a minute. You could, you know, style wigs, but they did it great because they wrote all the sketches up front. So in the very beginning, you already knew every episode what the characters were, because you did a whole design meeting with which John actually, the director, actually had a very big say in as well, which was great. So it was just fun. And it literally was like a $2 budget. It was like, so you were just coming up with something so funny, and like you were just like, all right, so we got this wig. We're just gonna cut up the side, and so you had to be really creative.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
So let's talk about some of the characters, some of which had been established in season 1, but obviously there was a reason you were brought in. So I'll start with my favorite characters, Candace and Tony. You know, they're in their own words, you know, bookstore ladies.
Well, that was, I think, Carrie's we kept the same for a little while. Fred's, I don't know what the very beginning wig was, but we got Fred that wig.
Yes.
Here.
Oh.
Fred, that was Fred's wig. Because he wanted a wig. He was like, either he didn't like it or he couldn't find something he liked. And when he came back here, he said, I want this character wig, whatever. And we got that for him prior. If I remember right, that's actually his wig.
Oh, he owns that now?
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I might have got another one for the show, but he owns that. Yeah. Those are fun characters.
The other ones, like Lance and Nina, the gender swap couple.
So stupid. So stupid.
And I love
That's so good. That's actually her hair pulled back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that little terrible
Fred
ponytail.
Is that, we've changed that wig so many times. I can't even think about Fred in that wig and him walking in those shoes. God bless. We changed her look a few times, but again, a lot of these wigs I inherited, so like I had to keep going with them. So eventually I think we wound up changing some of them, or like I would just fix them into something else. But the whole charm of that show was that some of the wigs were just awful, hard front, terrible like wigs that I kind of loved, But yeah, I wasn't winning any awards, I don't think, for that one, but they were so funny. They were good. We had a lot of fun. Oh, God, we got some good ones.
Now, coming out of Portlandia, you then also went with Kreisel to do baskets.
I actually helped him. I didn't go with him. He wanted wigs. I actually just designed some wigs for him. It wasn't me who ran the show.
Oh, no? I didn't know that. Okay.
He wanted wigs for Zach because at one point Zach cut his hair. So he needed a self wig for Zach, and he was nervous about it, John. And then, and he wanted another wig, I think, for Louis.
Yeah. Now, so you didn't create the
no, Louis had a wig
look for Christine Baskets?
No, that was I built the wig. I made her a nicer wig.
Oh, okay.
They, in the beginning, how you do pilots, you have a budget and you did, and whatever. I think they got for him, and it didn't fit him really well, if I remember right. And so after the show got picked up, they wanted to have a wig built for Louis, and I had already sent them wigs for Zach to mimic his, because he kept cutting his hair and stuff. Well, because it runs on, and at that time he had long hair, I think. Mm-hmm. So I built his wigs and gave them, and then I built Louis' wig and cut it and everything, but a little bit nicer in the sense of what was originally made for him. But no, it wasn't me who created the look, but I did fix it for after it got picked up, just something a little bit nicer. I do that a lot. There's a lot of shows. It's funny because you go on IMDb and it's like, oh, where is everything? I just don't fix it.
Well, you set the record straight. Is there anything?
I'm not just saying it happens a lot. Well, I'll design and send wigs for a lot of stuff. We just did, oh God, I don't remember the name of it. It's Steve Buscemi. It's going to be Simon's new show. He plays God.
Oh, right. Well, that's also a Broadway video show.
Yes.
That's the one they're shooting in Chicago, I want to say.
Maybe.
It's for TBS.
forget where. I don't know if it is Chicago. Maybe it is. But yeah, so Steve.
Chicago, or is it Atlanta maybe?
Atlanta. Maybe.
It is Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. But you know, obviously it's Yorma is directing it, and Simon is the creator, and Steve Buscemi, I love him, which we know very well. Obviously
From
Portlandia, and he from here. You know, he's been in tons of stuff,
Right.
and they said, you know, they were worried about his character, and so was he. So they were like, why don't we get Jodi? And Steve was like, you know, yeah, let's get.
So how do you design the look for God?
Well, we just have a very long conversation about it. We come here, we sit down, and we figure it out. And that's exactly one day. So he came to visit me. Nothing like Steve Buscemi coming on a train to visit you, right? That was exciting. He came and we had some looks for him, and Yorma was here, and we tried him on and took pictures, and you know, the top men made their decision. And then I built it for him. Then, you know, we just referenced, and then I built him a wig and sent it off, you know, and whoever's there is putting it on him.
So now when you sort of lock in on what the look is, do you do a sketch, or how do you communicate like what your intentions are, or do you actually have to build it and have people see it and then them go, oh, can you change this and this and this?
Yes. So if you have time, you know, he did come back. We did another fitting. And we had another discussion about it, and we tweaked it. However, if we wanted to add a little more color to it, or cut it, make it, you know, whatever it was, I'll do that. And then when everybody's happy, then I send it off. You know, a lot of people leave here that know me, obviously. So like Bobby or Moynihan or directors like we just mentioned, the Lonely Island boys. You will constantly get random texts, you know, can you help me with this? Can you figure this out? And just because you already have a relationship with them, and they know your work and they understand, it's happened across the board, you know, and it's nice. And a lot of people know I'm here and they know I'm busy, or they'll just say, you know, can you design this? Or I'll have producers call me and say, can you design this show? And then we'll, you know, so I'll do that. So a lot of that does happen. There's a lot of like just wigs going out, you know, that I'll help them find the characters and design.
You don't seem to mind that at all, do you?
I love it. I love it. It's about making it work, and I love collaborating. I love it. So it's fun, and just knowing that. Even like Steve was just like, I think I have this idea of God, and he felt a little lost in it and not sure, and being able to say, okay, that's help you find this, because he has to be comfortable on camera and really believe his character, right? That helps everybody. So being a little part of that it feels good, you know, and I still just love what I do. So, and I weirdly have, you know, I've been doing it so long that I've tapped into all little things. So it could be anything, like helping. Like he would even say, like, what do you think, like, what about the clothes too? And it happens, you know, you're helping the whole look of it. It's so funny because recently, I can't remember who it was, somebody was just like, you really should produce. Like, why aren't you producing? Because you basically produce that whole thing. And I'm like, it's fun and I like doing it. I would consider it, but I still love if I produced, it would probably be in the way of the look, you know, like it would be in my departments. It would be the hair, the makeup, and the wardrobe, because I do feel like a lot of times that gets lost in a show with hiring and stuff. It's because it takes a certain person to really understand those departments. So it's interesting.
If you had to sort of define what you think like a viewer can learn about a character from the way that character is styled, you know, sort of start with your specific area of expertise and sort of go out from there. Because I think it's something that, again, is so unconscious or subconscious for the viewer. So what do you think it is that the viewer learns or knows about a character when they like look at them and they see how they've been visually created?
Well, you think about it. If you turn on the television before someone even speaks, you visually see them, right? So that's the first thing you're seeing. So if you're seeing someone that, I mean, that's, try to make a clean, easy example, and this person has very glamorous hair. you already know kind of what kind of person it is. Or if you see like a soccer mom, you know, like in its soccer mom hair, before she even speaks, that's your first initial thought of this character. So visually, the whole package, you know, is the first thing you're seeing. And so it's nice to be part of that because you're kind of setting the tone, hopefully, you know, if you're doing it well, don't you think? So if I have a character and it's Amy Poehler and Tina Fey standing out there and they got their high-waisted jeans on and their soccer mom, like you already know where this is going and we didn't even say anything yet. So it's kind of fun being part of that, you know, and it helps them. Like, you know, you can get a laugh and they didn't even say anything yet, you know?
Which do you think you enjoy more, sort of recreating real people like the stuff that's in the cold open, or like creating, like, I don't know, I think about like Kristen doing the Target lady. You know what I mean?
Right.
What do you think you get sort of more of a kick out of?
I do like creating sometimes just on my own, just like a character that no one has seen yet. Because you could just be really free with it, and it's fun. It's like in my head of what I think this person should look like or what the hair should be, versus a character, which I get different pleasures from. But it's a lot of pressure to me. It makes it's a different like I'm just so focused on it really being right, and so it gives me a little anxiety. Through the whole thing, and you're like, oh, sweet Lord, you know, hope this works out. And you just know it's up into the last second that you have to keep fudging with it, versus a wig that's just going to be fun and it's no one's comparing it to something. Right. You know, so you're comparing a real person to...
that was more kind of what you did on Portlandia, which is, again, sort of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning with Fred,
like fun.
Is that, like, Fred said, oh, I don't know, like, who this character is if he hasn't done it before until he puts on one of your wigs.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, you know, you just come up with these kooky characters or something, and you're not, you know, comparing it to something. And they have picture references, too. It'll be like, oh, this is my friend Bob's best friend, and I remember taking this picture. And it gives you a little idea, like that would happen a lot. John would do that a lot. You know, the Chrysler would be like, oh, Chrysler, did I say? John. He was like,
I know who you
yeah, like him. He would just remember like a friend of his from like high school, and he'd be like, this guy, you know, something like this. But it still didn't have to be exact. It was just in the realm, you know, and it was fun that you're like, oh, I get it, you know. So
at some point, maybe you should make a John Kreisel wig.
Yeah,
He's got great hair.
I think we have. We do it a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure we have done that. Oh, yeah, I think we definitely have.
Have you ever based wigs for fictional characters on real people in a way to go, like, I hope they don't know that we're sort of doing them?
We do, and I think people love it. We do Oz a lot. He's one of our directors as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we do that a lot because it just makes us laugh. And he loves it. We actually did one with him, for him, I think Tim wore it. It was a cast member, Tim. We did a Oz wig. He's one of our directors here. And last week I did one last week Donald Glover looked so much like one of our directors here on the pre-tapes that I couldn't take it. I was like, this is crazy, he looks just like him. So one of the characters he played last week, it was an older guy with salt and pepper hair, and it was loosely based on him, and he caught it right away too. He like texted me, he was like, we need to talk about this, and he loved it. It's fun. People love it. It's fun.
So what advice would you give to somebody who wanted to do what you do, who would want to like start their career now and have this, you know, joyful, wonderful, magical, creative life that you're in the middle of here?
I think you just have to really want it. You have to really want it. It's a lot of work. I feel like learn it all. I think people get very tunnel vision. They're like, I just like this kind of hair, and maybe just you know, glamour hair or something. And see, and I think when you're truly a creative person, you can get bored easily. And I love to dab in a little bit of everything, and I think it's really important. Theater, 100%. Everybody should do theater.
So you think theater is a good way to sort of get on your track?
Because it's hands-on. You know, if you go to hair school and let's just say you learn, you know, like 20s style, you're only doing it for a very short amount of time. You know what I mean? And it could be on a human or, you know, but when you're in theater, because it's repetition, you know, it's the same wigs, it's the same show, and it's 8 shows a week, and for however long it lasts, you're really doing that constantly. It is really a great learning experience. I think it's key, in my opinion. And, you know, and then from there, you know, you may not ever really work on a lot of humans. So then from there, you want to go into television or get your hands on it. And it takes time. And everybody, it's great because, you know, there's just so many different types of hair and different wigs. And it's a lot of fun. Then there's editorial, you know, there's magazines and models and runway. It is fun to me, that stuff, but I just loved staying in television and stuff. But I say learn it all and just know you are going to work a lot of hours. I don't think people realize how it seems so glamorous, but it's a lot of work.
So for as many hours and as much work as it is, would you say that this is what you see yourself doing for another 5, 10, 20?
I feel like this is it. I don't really got much else. I mean, it's
so you love it enough that you.
And at this point, I'm good at it. You know what I mean? So it's like fun now. I'm not that young kid that's just like, oh, like still nervous about it. You know, there comes a point in your career where you're just like, you're comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, we always get nervous and there's always something new. But there's a certain confidence that comes that you're like, I can do this, you know, and if you can't...
When's that going to kick in from me?
Oh, you know you're good. You're interviewing. Look at you. It's fancy. How many years have you been doing this?
It's been 22 years I've been doing this.
I mean, I feel like it's time.
All right, one last thing, because I know you have to go to the read-through.
You got it.
How quickly do you think you could transform me into Donald Trump?
It would take 2 seconds.
Yeah? Let's do this.
Do it. They're coming down to get you. So.
Really?
You're attached to the microphone. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
Amazing.
Are we still rolling?
Yeah, keep rolling.
Okay.
Keep rolling. I'm gonna have to.
I need a million selfies of this.
All right.
I really do.
I would have had this.
This
on
may
pins
be
for you.
my social media default picture.
Oh boy.
Just so you know.
So you have to take your glasses off.
Yes, ma'am. You are in charge.
All right, so I'm going to put this in front of you, and you're going to grab the front lace with your hands and just put it right here.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, let go.
Okay.
Oh, you look good in blonde hair.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think for a Jew.
So I'm not going to glue you or anything.
Is there a lot of glue involved?
Oh yeah, we would glue the whole lace.
Okay.
And pin you probably. But you get the idea.
Yeah?
I'm not going to glue you because
do you think it works?
See it?
Yeah, of course I do.
You look like you're from...
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
You almost look like you should be in a band. Right? What do you think? Can you see it without your glasses?
I can, and it's freaking me out.
Do the face. Do the face.
All right, ready?
There you go.
That's really crazy how
Isn't
it
that
transformed.
crazy?
Amazing.
I am both horrified and ecstatic at the same time. Thank you, Jodi.
You're very welcome.
And just once while you're still rolling, before they bust the door down, you said something about how people have been here for so long, for decades, some since the very first show.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that's kept you, specifically on this show, doing this for this long?
Should I get out of her chair?
No, you stay.
You can stay.
Because creatively, it's the most fulfilling. It really is. You're not here for the hours. You're not here for the money. You're here because creatively, it is the most fulfilling, and it's different. You never know what's going to happen. It's kind of awesome. It's fun. You want to work here?
If you can find something for me, I'd come be your intern.
There you go.
I would. All right, get a shot of me and Jodi.
Okay, we'll do. You can keep rolling on this. We'll cut in 1 second. They're going to come down. Yeah, oh my God, Dan. It's too crazy. It's too crazy.
Isn't that weird?
All it is hair. And the face. Okay, I got it. That is too crazy. All right, thank you so much, Jodi.
You're a babe.
Love you.
I love you more.